Speaking of that, I seen a video of yours where you said that feminism has conditioned black women to view black men as the enemy.
Word.
It has.
That's a
Feminism was financed by the CIA. Gloria, what was her name? Gloria
Gloria
Steinem, I think
Steinem?
she was.
Right, yeah.
Facts.
Mother of modern feminism, because traditional feminism goes back to the 1800s, right? With Susan B. Anthony and those white supremacists. But Gloria Steinem was a CIA agent. They
Facts.
financed her. Her first
Facts.
feminist magazine they paid for.
Mm.
The CIA
this is
brought
true.
feminism into the white household to get the woman out the house, and into the black household to turn the black woman against the black man. To scapegoat us for problems
Right.
caused for her by white supremacy.
Exactly.
So, obviously, a big thing, obviously, we spoke about the gender wars, earlier. Obviously, there's a lot of conversation nowadays about, the value of what a woman brings and the value of what a man brings in a relationship. And now there's a lot more rhetoric from our women that we hear is, I'm strong, independent, I don't need no man, right? So,
That's pain speaking, though.
right.
Because most black women know they will never get a man. A black woman
Not
can
a
have
true man,
sex
yeah.
whenever she
That's
wants.
true.
Right.
Because she's beautiful. She can have a bed mate, but to have a soul mate, she may never get. I have two daughters, 11 and 20, right? My oldest would be 21 this week. Statistically, right? There's a strong chance my daughter could be one of those. I hope she's not. She could be one of those who never get a husband because only 1 out of 4 gets a husband. You see that? So when a black woman says, I don't need a man, that is a reaction to the reality that I may not get a man.
So why not preach? Because I understood, you're
point
obviously against interracial relations when it comes to black
Absolutely.
men with with white women.
With all women. You should only be with the black woman.
And you will say, well, if you can't
Should
find a
only
good
be,
woman
yeah,
in
facts.
America,
Black
there's
women.
plenty
Somewhere
in
else.
Africa.
Absolutely.
So why not teach that same rhetoric to our women? Like if you,
I do.
if you feel
I
like
tell sisters all the time, go to Africa.
So
I know
then-
sisters who marry. I just spoke with a sister. She invited me to the wedding. She just married a brother from the continent.
So, but instead of saying they will never
I'll
get
take
married,
sisters to Africa who married brothers they met
Right.
in Africa.
right?
So yeah,
I think
do teach that.
I think there's obviously plenty of black men
Yes,
for
it
black
is.
women. So
And what I
instead of
also
saying that they
tell
will
black
never
women,
get
if you're
married,
going to go get you an African man from the continent,
right?
you're going to have to understand that the way in which you talk to black men in America will not be tolerated over there.
Exactly.
Why the
It-
fuck
it's
is
a
it tolerated? It's not
respect.
tolerated here. That's what we're trying to tell them.
Well, over here, I want to say this to us, though. Because we try to act like the way sisters treat us doesn't have a history that we are not at least partly responsible for. Let's be honest. The black woman has had to hold down the black house by herself, although imperfectly. She's had to do it by herself since the mass incarceration of black males began in the 1970s. You understand me? Most of our children are raised by a single mother right now.
Right.
And it has been that way for about 50 years. So when a sister says, I don't need a man, because she couldn't find one strong enough to hold her down. Or when you meet a woman and you say, sister, I'm strong enough to be a man. You ain't got to work or you ain't got to pay the bills or whatever. Pull back. I got you. And she can't do it because all the other men before you who disappointed her. So what I'm saying is, black men, we got to be patient with our women because we created that personality. We created that. And then we want to act like we didn't play a role.
We have to be
in the
held
strong-
accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection.
I agree with Dr. Umar on this point that because women do not have the understanding, the biblical understanding or anything of that nature due to not being taught it, not having a father figure in the home, a lot of them having to get instructed by the woman, a lot of them already are born and taught to be an independent black woman. Now, we know that it's not 100% of black men's fault because, we can't really blame a black man that got locked up for some foolishness. You know what I'm saying? Well, not foolishness. Foolishness, not that he created, but because you might had a cop, you know what I'm saying, that seen him, he was black, and try to put something on him or whatever the case may be, get him locked up, right? But a lot of the men, it was sleeping outside of their marriage. We ain't gonna act like that wasn't a thing. It was happening rampant, which also made the woman want to go outside and get her own and get her job and everything like that, because she's sitting at home, she's doing the womanly duties that she's required to do, but the man isn't holding his end of the bargain. So yes, our fathers, they have caused that issue. You know what I'm saying? Abuse and stuff like that. A lot of that is caused by the men. I'm not saying that the women don't have a role to play in that as well, but we're not going to act like it wasn't a thing. At some point in time, you have to realize that these women have had a past trauma based off of another man in their life. A lot of them have poor selection off the fact that they've never been taught what a good man was. They seen a mom and a aunties and all of that stuff. They may have had good men that cheated on them. You know what I'm saying? Well, good, quote unquote, good man that may have cheated on them, been abusive or anything like that. And internally, it taught the wife or the mom or whatever the case may be to teach the daughter, don't allow this to happen to you. Be independent as long as you can and everything like that. We know in the scriptures, it says that if a woman rules her household, she's going to raise terrible children, especially if she don't have any male instruction or guidance. That's why a lot of the times when you see women that were raised by their grandparents, that they have some type of moral understanding because the grandparents was instilling certain things up in them when they were young. I mean, if the woman is raised in a single parent household with the woman doing all of the duties, and she's supposed to be taught how to be a woman to take care of the responsibilities of everybody in that house, what else is she going to learn? She don't never experience the duties of a woman that's taking care of just the house, because she had to go get a job in a 9 to 5. As a man, you have to understand that, and you have to internalize that as, hey, you haven't got this understanding. I'm gonna have to show you, hey, you can let all of that stuff that you used to know, that you have an understanding with, you know what I'm saying? You can let all that stuff go and allow me to give you the life that your parents was never allowed to have. And because a lot of them never seen it ever in their life, they look at it like this is not obtainable. This is not possible. So they're going to have a doubt, or, you know what I'm saying? Or they're going to have that in the back of their mind. What if he does this? What if he does that? That's when the man needs to hold up his end of the bargain and fulfill his duties as a husband. So I agree with him to that point.
We have to be held accountable for their poor selection.
No, you have to be held accountable. No, you have to be held accountable because they have a poor selection. See, what you're saying, you're selecting a poor mate. And what I'm saying is they don't have much to select one, so of course you're going to end up with a poor mate. And why is she going to end up with a poor mate? Because we as black men are not raising black boys to be the men that our women need. We are not. They out there killing themselves right now. What we doing about it? Unemployed black males, what we doing about it? Pants sagging, weed smoking, what we doing about it? Black men are not raising black boys to be the men our community needs. That is 100% our fault. What I'm saying is she got a right to be angry with us. She got a right to be angry with us.
I understand
we have not been on our job as black men. If the men are the providers, what have we been providing for our community? I'm not speaking you individually.
Yes.
Because you may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. You may be a damn good father. But guess what? What are we doing for the community? What are we doing for the children who don't have a father?
Right.
You don't think the black woman got a right to be angry when she's been raising 2/3 of the kids by herself for 50 years? And the minute she raised her voice, we say she's not humble enough? She had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs to be more
If we was loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that?
How can she select? Because even with the good, because I can't say that there's no good men out here, but who's teaching her how to select a good man? 9 times out of 10, it's her single mother, bruh. Think about that. Her single mother that's been sleeping from man to man all throughout her older years is teaching her how to choose a good man. Or her friends that's also doing the same thing as her, trying to figure this stuff out all on their own. No man is raising up and saying, hey, you know what I'm saying? Treat her right. No, you know what I'm saying? Brothers Brothers don't even have a care for their sisters anymore. You remember back in the day where you like, hey, you better not ever, you know what I'm saying, do nothing like this to my sister, da-da-da. They don't even do that anymore. Fathers ain't even instructing their daughters on how to behave anymore. So, like, yeah, you can be upset about their poor choice selection, 100%. But we're not going to act like they choosing wrong because they are informed enough to choose the correct mate. And they're just choosing just because. Now, yes, of course, if you choose the wrong mate 8 different times, and you know these things never change, then I mean, yeah, of course, you're gonna have some fault in that. Because the man that you desire isn't the man the world shows as the valuable man, right? This is the problem though. As men, we need to start, instead of uplifting these bums that's got multiple kids and all of this stuff, we need to start uplifting the good fathers for the women to internalize, hey, there's value in that man. That's the problem. The women only go off of what we think is the best option for them. So we internalize that and we say, hey, okay, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna get the bigger house. I'm gonna get the better car. I'm gonna do all of this stuff. And then we run into these people, you know what I'm saying? And we big them up 24/7. And then when you see a regular Joe that's doing well for himself, you saying, oh, he ain't bossed up enough. We frown down upon them brothers. So what do you expect a woman to do as well internally? What do you, like, honestly, like, I mean, yeah, we have 100% fault in this.
He had to become masculine to survive the rape, the molestation, the domestic abuse. Are you telling me you can't see how we created that?
I understand that, but she needs to be
If we was loving
selective.
our women and taking care of our women, do you think she would be like that? That personality has a history.
If she's picking Pookie and Ray Ray instead of
You're making her a scapegoat.
No, she's picking a scapegoat.
No.
There's good quality men that they ignore.
Why she even got it? Why is there even a Pookie in the selection?
You gotta ask her that.
No. I'm gonna tell you why there's a Pookie in the selection.
Wow.
Because black men have abandoned black boys and have allowed social media, white media, athletes, and rappers to raise them. That's why she with Pookie. If we never allowed Pookie to develop, she would not have a Pookie. If we're going to be men, the first thing we got to do is take responsibility for why our women feel the way they feel.
I can hear that.
I'm not saying that they're right to disrespect, because even if a woman disrespects me, right? That still don't give me a right to disrespect her, because she's still the queen of the community. Even if she's not acting like it, I'm going to give her that respect. But when I hear brothers talk like this discourse we having now, we act like we don't understand.
No,
There's reasons for that shit.
I do understand. Women are so valuable. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think women ground men and help them, propel to the next level. I think men get further in life with a woman, right? But if I'm a hardworking man, but I'm only looked at as resources, and then she's ready to jump on Tom, Dick, and Harry because he got flash, he's shining a little bit more, his access to money is quicker than mine. It's kind of hard to have that. Well,
no, one, I agree with you, but that's not all sisters.
No, it's not.
If you're constantly running into that type of woman, then the problem is you, because you're attracting a certain low vibrational energy. Why
not have that same energy for women? You just again, you held the man responsible. Because we having a conversation
as men.
Yeah,
I got plenty of interviews with all women where I check them too.
Right.
But as a man, you should not be concerned about what I say to them. No. As men, we should be concerned of what we're going to do to produce a better generation of black males for tomorrow. That's the only, that is where we should be focusing.
Women bring the choice of life, right? We understand that, right? I can't have a child unless a woman agrees.
And she can't carry one if you didn't put it in her.
I agree with that 100% too, right? But whether or not, if you want that child or not, she can still make that decision. It's only up to her.
If you don't put a seed in her, nothing else happens. Exactly. And no woman can make you put a seed in her. So the original act was the responsibility of a man.
True.
He spin facts, bro.
Did black men willingly leave the household, or was it the system that was?
It was systemic.
All right. So how, if we giving them grace for them having to do it without us, but it wasn't our fault, How
What?
we not getting that same grace and that same respect?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because black men, as the leaders of the community, now
Right.
We can't be leaders.
here's the
Women
question
aren't
we gotta
accepting
make.
that.
Here's the question. Because the argument y'all make
Yeah.
feeds into the feminist agenda.
Okay.
It's an argument that says, I don't want the responsibility.
I'm a leader.
I
at
don't
my
want to
home,
fix
though.
shit,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna fall back and let her run everything. That's what the feminists tell. They say, look at them, making excuses for why they can't be better men, making excuses for why they can't make better men. You understand?
Mm.
Right.
Your argument feeds the feminist narrative.
That's
and
not.
it's dangerous.
That's not what we're making
That's not what-
excuses
that's
for.
what we not. I'm saying I am the better man, but I shouldn't be held responsible because you wanted to choose a Pookie and a Ray Ray. That's not me. I worked too
And
hard
I'm
in my
gonna go back
life.
to what I said. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist. And the only reason why Pookie and Ray Ray exist because we're not in the community making those boys the men they need to be. Do you see
Right.
that?
And,
she don't get a Pookie if you didn't allow a Pookie.
But she got an Eli. She ain't come to Eli. She went to Pookie, and that's what we're trying to say.
She wouldn't have
I
had a
worked too-
Pookie if we
I
didn't
worked
allow
too
one.
hard and
His argument is valid, but he's saying she has a dozen Pookies. It's only one Eli. That's what he's saying. She has a dozen Pookies to fall and fall for. There's only one Eli that she can fall for. If you make more Elis, then she wouldn't have a Pookie. That's what he's saying, bro. Like, I don't know.
Pookie if we didn't allow
But
one.
Dr. Umar, we
Men supposed to make raise the boys.
right. We
Rites
as
of
men,
passage.
we as men is holding other men accountable for the same thing that you talking about right now.
What are we doing for the young brothers in the street? So
What you mean, mentoring them? Now, I mean, he's a great father.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't
my
talking
brother
that's
is a great
individual.
father.
That's good.
Individual, yeah.
Uh-huh.
But that's individualism.
Yeah.
What are we doing collectively as men
Mhm.
to change the trajectory for black boys in the streets right now?
I believe
Nothing.
We're being
but
a voice.
talking shit.
Yeah. I mean, you could take
It's
it. as
not
that.
going to get better unless we put hands on deck. The reason the athletes and the rappers are the role models is the professional black man moved out the hood. Where the dentist at? He ain't in the black community no more.
Mhm.
Where the lawyer at? Where the business owner at? Where your city council person at? We
We don't
abandon
even know who that
black
is.
boys, and then we
Exactly.
blame black men for poor choices in mates that they should not even have to make if we did a better job raising our boys the right way. At the end of the day, if I'm gonna call myself a man,
Mm.
the ultimate responsibility for reconstruction of the black community rests with me. Yes, they have a role. Yes, they have responsibility. But as a man, as a leader, to say I can't fix this shit unless she changes, that's not the definition of a man.
I don't see. I think we're on two different accords. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think we're saying that. What I'm saying is I'm capable of being that leader, that provider. I've worked hard in my life. You get what I'm saying? I should not have to do.
You still go back to individualism.
But I only feel like we tell black men that we have to now deal with masculine women, women with children.
Why
by
is
other,
she masculine?
That
Because
don't
she's
got-
had to raise the kids alone. Not one woman,
So you mean
brother.
to tell me-
a whole community.
So you mean to tell me the only woman I could look forward in my life is a masculine woman that has kids by other men?
No,
That's what I have to look forward to?
But
You
I'm
see?
telling you, mistakes made by black men systemically gave rise to the conditions that allowed her to be masculine and made her end up with a man that you consider to be less than what he should be. And I'm telling you, black men are responsible for her being masculine because we have not helped her raise them children.
I am
and when
not.
I say help them raise them children,
No,
I don't
that's
mean
a
you
fact.
as the stepdad.
No, yeah, I mean-
Exactly. Like the scripture says, be a father to the fatherless. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. A lot of these women, especially that have multiple kids and stuff like that, the reason why they run to these type of people is to gain financial backing. They say, even though it's done immorally, I'm going to go to this person that's going to give me what I want, ultimately. But I see where he's going with this. He's pretty much saying, like, the men have to step up and be men and take care of the community better to produce better selection of men for the women to choose from. And then if they pick better selection of men and we create and make men that's better for her to choose from, then she wouldn't have to choose a Pookie and Ray Ray, because the Pookie and Ray Ray is going to look like a lame. Like I said earlier, it's a million Pookies and Ray Rays. There's only one or two Elis in the community. Who you think that she gonna go for, bro?
And you,
Yeah.
as an active member in
Definitely.
the community,
Yes.
where we go to every single parent black mother and say, how many sons you got? 2? How many sons you got? 2? Well, guess what? That's your son's big brother. That's your son's big brother. He taking him to school. He doing the homework. He gonna spend a couple hours with him every Saturday. He got his own kids too, but he gonna make time for you. She got masculine because she had to become masculine in order to deal with the rape, the abuse, the domestic violence, the disappointments that men had in her life, and also raising those kids and having to take care of herself all at the same time. The black woman has been the be-all, end-all in our community for half of a century, and now we want to turn around and say because she didn't do it perfectly enough or remain feminine enough when she had to absorb our responsibilities plus her own, that's insensitive and disingenuous.
I don't believe so.
Yeah, I can't.
I mean, I guess I do understand. I understand what you're saying.
I'm not taking nothing back from that. To tell me something that we've done systemically to combat that. Because you keep saying me and her. I don't care about me and her.
But there's plenty
women and men. Women and men as a group in the community. You understand?
Right.
We gave birth to that. You see? So you say she had a couple kids already because she met men. She probably thought they was good. Some of them. They left her.
She knew they wasn't good.
You don't know that, brother.
She knew they wasn't good.
You're making assumptions about her. Would you make the same assumption if she was a white woman?
Yes, I would.
So you say.
No,
come on, man. Nah, come on.
All women accountable.
So you say.
Listen, like I said, I feel like as a black man.
We don't hold them all accountable because black men date outside their race more than every other man put together.
I said we.
Y'all three?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
I can't disprove that because I don't know you personally.
Even that, if we look at the numbers, black men marry black women at an 87% rate, where black women marry outside of their race, or they marry outside at a 92%.
Black women do not. No, you're wrong.
That's percentages
you're
apart.
Wrong.
That's not that much.
Black women do not marry out the race more than black men.
I'm not saying that, but the percentages ain't that far off. That's what I'm saying.
Black women have one of the highest, fastest growing interracial marriage rates, but her interracial marriage rate pales in comparison to what black men have been doing interracially for 4 or 5 decades. You understand? She don't even come close to what we're doing interracially.
Black fathers are in the home more than any other group or race.
Okay. But what
that has no value?
It does have value, but we're going to put that up against the other statistic. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. 2/3 of our kids are being raised by the women. And like I said, when I say being raised, I'm not saying it needs to be a father. I would like a father in that house, but I know it's not enough of us to go around.
Yeah.
We are not even being accountable to the boys in the hood. And we're complaining about the women.
I argue with women
who are making babies with the irresponsible men that we didn't raise correctly. Right. That's bullshit.
All right.
That's wimp-ass, weak man shit. Take responsibility for our shit. Stop scapegoating them.
Yeah, I could agree. I could agree to that.
All I'm saying is look at all we could be doing better, man. Half the black boys in the 4th grade can't read. What black men doing about that systemically?
Not enough.
I know what I'm doing about it. I'm building a school for it, 2 of them. But systemically as black men, what are we doing about that? Nothing. Black boys are the most unemployed teenager in America. What black men doing about that? See, the Pookie and Ray Ray you kept talking about? We letting them raise right before our eyes, and then we want to criticize her for ending up with one when we should have made sure there were none.
Listen, we all got choices. Just like if I choose to live a lifestyle that could
see, but that's exactly that's what we getting at. Look, okay. Dr. Umar is speaking about nation building. They're speaking about individualism, and I agree 100% with Dr. Umar for real. Because if we don't raise the men that because I understand y'all trying to say we have these Pookie and Ray Rays out here. So what are we going to do about the other people that's here? That's not Pookie and Ray Ray. Are we building them up to not be Pookie and Ray Ray, or are we gonna let Pookie and Ray Ray influence them to be more Pookie and Ray Rays? And then when the woman choose the Pookie and Ray Ray because he getting money, he doing all of this stuff, and we didn't educate and uplift the other brothers to do these certain things, then now it's a problem. Guess where the next line of men that the women are going to choose? They're going to choose the ones that's in sports. They're going to choose the ones that established a business for, you know what I'm saying, from maybe something that their parents own or something like that. Somebody that's more wealthy in the community. We need to teach these men how to be men and create a community or environment where these Pookie and Ray Rays are frowned upon. That's really the whole argument. Pookie and Ray Ray shouldn't exist, but yes, he does exist. And yes, women are making bad choices. They looked at the Pookie and Ray Ray as the cool individuals, and that's because the majority of the men looked at the other people that wasn't Pookie and Ray Ray as lame. That's literally it, bro. That's literally it. If we put more value into these other men that wasn't Pookie and Ray Ray, that wasn't athletes, that wasn't these other people that these women are running to, then they would see value in them as well. But you can't expect her to see value in a man that a man ain't even seeing value in. You can't.
We all got choices. Just like if I choose to live a lifestyle,
You're dealing with individualism again. I can't
that's
deal with
part
that.
of choices.
No, it's not. We have to deal with this systemically. He brought up a question earlier, and he said, "Did we make these problems on our own, or was there some systemics involved?" It was systemics.
Okay.
In 1970, they shut down the factories. They took out the industrial building jobs. 1980, dropped off the crack and the AIDS. 1990, the Bill Clinton crime bill. There's systemic factors at play. You totally divorce your analysis from any systemic factors at all. You ain't mentioned one. You keep talking about her and Pookie and Ray Ray with the kids. You ain't said shit about the systemics. That's exactly what white folks want you to do. That's what white folks want you to do.
I'm saying that
ignore
I have made
what I've done to your women and scapegoat her. Because that's what she's doing to you. She's ignoring what the system did to you. And she's going to scapegoat you.
And
We're both scapegoating each other.
Okay, that's fair. That's
Your
fair.
analysis is feeding the gender war. It's not solving it.
Listen,
I don't mind us holding the women accountable. I don't mind us holding the men accountable.
Right?
Yeah.
But when we're going to hold the system accountable as well.
That's fair.
And if we're going to hold the system accountable, that also means we got to make our own systems too. Black men have not been manly in quite some time when it comes to raising boys.
How would you suggest that black men take on the role of leadership,
especially when there's an attack on black masculinity,
without women willing to listen to us? You get what I'm saying? How do we prove?
If a woman has a child by another man, that man didn't step up, and you go and you supply her food and and pretty much takes something that she needs, she's name one woman that's going to disrespect you for doing that. Name one woman that will disrespect you for providing for her food for her kids, that, you know what I'm saying? The father, wherever the father's gone, right? And you know what's going to happen to that kid? That kid isn't going to have to go and try to provide for his mom by going out in the streets and getting money because another man stepped up that ain't even his father and did something for him because he knew that it was going to benefit the nation. Guess what's going to happen after that? That young man that sees you providing for his father, even though that's not your responsibility individually, he's going to look up to you and not Pookie or Ray Ray. Did that make sense, chat? Do that make 100% sense or not? Because he's saying let's fix the communities, but when community fixing is the conversation that needs to be had, we saying, oh well, she did this and he did this, is not fixing the community. See, this is what I love about being an Israelite, right? Because we're taking the men that were the Pookie and Ray Rays and establishing them in the law of God, and that's causing them to raise families, bruh. But guess what? Y'all gonna look at the Israelites and say they a hate group. But we're doing these things that's causing men to be better fathers in their community, be better leaders and role models in their community. But y'all frown down upon that, all while praising Pookie and Ray Ray and Lil Wayne and the baby and all of these people that have no significance to your community. They only there to get money for themselves and feed their family. They tell you that all throughout their music. But then people like J. Cole that you see doing stuff for the communities half the time, right? Even though he's up in that lane, y'all looking at him as the lame nigga, bro. Like, that's what the problem is. That's what the problem is. But y'all, like, I don't understand why men cannot see that. We want to blame. But when are we going to say, hey, when we going to be responsible? Letting the school raise your kids, don't care what they got going on, not speaking to them, not dealing with them, not giving them any type of instruction. I'm not talking about your own family, because your family might be solid, but you raising a 1 in a million child right now because everybody else not raising they kids the correct way. What are we going to do about that? That's what he's asking. He said, what are we going to do about that right there? When the community used to be solid and a person down the street could whoop your kid for doing something wrong, we didn't have so many Pookie and Ray Rays out here. And guess what? They were looked down upon, bro. Like, I don't get why, like, the disconnect is so far off. And I understand, yeah, it's a lot more women that's single mothers right now. But as men, you don't have to go and sleep with her to provide for her, bro. You don't. You don't have to sleep with her to provide for her at all. But that's the thing. Us individually, we saying, hey, if she ain't giving me no cheeks, I ain't paying for that kid. It wasn't my responsibility. It was my brother's responsibility. It was my cousin's responsibility. It was my, you know what I'm saying? It was my friend's responsibility, but it ain't my responsibility. So I'm not gonna do that. And then we expect a woman to be cool. Look, man.
Or take back the
Take
leadership
care of the
role.
boys. You want the women back? Take care of these damn boys. They run in the hood,
It's that simple.
killing people at will, flunking out of school, following the lead of the gangster rappers. There's a whole bunch of stuff we can do that ain't got nothing to do with the women, boys and men. Do you understand? Deal with the boys and the men. Leave her out of it and go straight to the boys. And you'll get her respect
See
back.
what happened. Exactly.
Give them jobs, give them education, give them training, give them your time. They not getting none of that from black men. We don't give a shit about black boys. And then we're going to get mad at her for ending up with one later in life. It's ridiculous.
Nah,
Like
like
you
I said,
create
we
the product and get mad for her for ending up consuming the product.
she could consume whatever
It's
she
our
wants. I'm just saying,
responsibility.
as a black man,
She shouldn't be able to consume whatever she wants, though. I don't. Oh, bro. And I ain't gonna lie, bro. I respect these brothers because I be watching their videos and they be having some good talking points. This is a terrible one, bro. This shows me that majority of the men have this type of perspective. I'm gonna be honest with you, chat. If this was the man that's I'm supposed to be looking at as my leader, if I was a woman, I ain't really looking at much. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not really looking at much.
Not about her consuming whatever she want, brother, because if we're trying to fix the black community, everybody and everything matters. It's
And that's
not individual.
understandable.
You're an
But
individualist. You're not thinking as a community. Your whole analysis is based on me and her. Step out of that shit. This is systems at play. You understand?
Right.
Multiple black men screwed up. Multiple black women screwed up. You understand me? Look at the systemic nature and say, what system do we need to create as black men to prevent the Pookie and Ray Ray from coming into existence?
or I, as a black man, can just look for a woman that is healed, that is leading in her
Oh, bro.
femininity, that doesn't have a
Could
child
do
by
that,
another
but
woman.
that doesn't solve community problems.
It doesn't. It solves your problem. It literally just solves your problem. I have a submissive wife. I have 2 kids that's being raised 100% correctly. You know what doesn't have anything to do with me, but can cause a problem in my household? My son's friend that wasn't raised the same way my household was raised, because I had my stuff together, but his friend's mom might not have had it. His friend's dad might not have had his stuff together. And now he's going to influence my son because I chose to take only time from my son. And it's more of them out here than us. And that's what he's trying to say. Create more of us that's going to raise families in the household. And the ones that can't raise families or are not raising families, let's be responsible and take care of them. You know what I'm saying? This is what the Most High wanted us to do, right? From the beginning. When it was a fatherless child, guess whose responsibility it was for them to be fed? Israelites. Guess if it was a widow, guess whose responsibility it was to take care of that woman? Israelites. It wasn't her husband. It wasn't his father. It was Israelites. And that's what the Most High been trying to get us to understand for years. except we just not taking in the understanding of what the Bible says. If we just apply what's written, we can fix the communities, but we have too many people trying to fight about the problems of the communities and not giving enough solutions in the communities, which if you're going to get the best solutions, the best outcomes, it's going to come from the laws of God. The laws of God gives you the blueprint to have successful communities, but y'all run away from the Bible. It's the white man's book. Nobody reads the Bible. That's old. That was the old times and all of that stuff. But every answer to y'all problems is in that book. Tell me I'm lying. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem right there. That's the problem right there. Look, they would have had me up on here. I would have been pulling multiple scriptures. All right, let's read this. Let's read that. Okay, well, we're going to read this and we're going to see if this is an easier way for, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. It's so many scriptures that popped up in my head. I was thinking Isaiah 3. I was thinking a lot of the laws in Leviticus. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, man. Like, what?